Hello everybody, my name is Michael, and thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today we're going to be jumping back into Python crash course. Going to be doing a demo of 5-2 more conditional tests. You don't have to limit the number of conditional tests created to 10. If you want more comparisons, write more tests and add them to conditionaltest.py. Have at least one true and one false result for each of the following. So let's say we have string 1 and string 2. String 1 is going to be equal to Michael, and string 2 is going to be equal to David. Let's print is string 1 equal to string 2, question mark. I predict false. These two strings do not have the same character values in the same order, so these are false. We'll print string 1 equal to string 2. We can duplicate this down and just flip this guy to a exclamation mark and this guy as well, and then say this is going to be true now. And we run this, we get false and true. Cool. Let's go take a stab at the next one. Test using the lower method. Print, quote, is string 1 equal to string 1 dot lower, question mark. I predict false. Remember, the lower method is going to convert all uppercase characters to lowercase characters within our string. So if we say that string 1 is equal to string 1 dot lower, well, this is returning a new version of our string and comparing it to our original string, which has an uppercase character. So this will be print string 1 equal to string 1 dot lower. We run this, we get false. Remember, some methods return values and some methods modify the value in place. The lower method returns a copy of the string converted to lowercase, given by this little hint. We can safely compare this new copy to the original. Okay, let's say that we have a number equal to 10 for numerical tests. We're going to first test for equality and inequality. So let's go print number equal to 10. Let's print number not equal to 10. Go ahead and make predictions what you think these values will be. Well, number is 10. If we're saying is number equal to 10, this will be true. In this one, we're asking is the number not equal to 10, this one will be false. Boom. All right, I went ahead and wrote in some little print statements to make that a little bit cleaner. We next want to do greater than and less than. I'm going to copy this chunk down and say is number greater than 10? I predict false, right? The number isn't greater than 10, the number is 10, so that will return false. Let's say is the number less than 10? Well, I also predict false in this one as well because the number is 10, so the number is not less than 10. Let's go ahead and run this one. Is the number greater than 10? False. Is the number less than 10? False. I'm going to copy these down one more time. You can probably guess where we're going, but we're going to say is the number greater than or equal to 10? I predict, this case, true. We are now including 10 in our evaluation. Is the number less than or equal to 10? I predict true, right? The number is less than or equal to 10 because we are including 10 on our evaluation. Let's go ahead and run this. True and true. All right, next we're going to compare the and or keyword. Using the and keyword combines two statements on the left and right, and both have to evaluate to true in order for the entire expression to evaluate to true. Using or, only either or of the left or right side of the expression has to be true. So let's do this. Let's print, quote, is number greater than or equal to 10 and even, question mark. I predict true. Let's go ahead and do this. Let's print number greater than or equal to 10 and number modulo by 2 is equal to 0. This one might be a little bit difficult to understand, but this modulo operator is taking the remainder of the value divided by 2. 2 evenly divides into 10, and so there is no remainder, and so we're determining if the number is even or odd with this statement here. Let's go ahead and run this. That is true because 10 is greater than or equal to 10, and is it even? Yes. So if we duplicate this down, and we say instead of being even, we say odd, we would say this would be false, because we know that 10 is not both of these. It is greater than or equal to 10, but it's not odd, so we predict it will be false. Both of these statements have to be true in order for the and, to work across the entire expression. So to set it to false, let's go ahead and set not equal to 0 for this expression here. If we run this, we get false. Let's go ahead and copy just down these 2 lines we wrote for the false evaluation, being odd for the number, and let's instead change this to the or keyword. The or keyword, like I said earlier, means that either the left or right have to evaluate to true in order for this entire expression to evaluate to true. So, is the number greater than or equal to 10 or odd? I predict in this case true, because the number actually is greater than or equal to 10, but it's not odd. But because we have the or statement or keyword, we only need the left side to evaluate to true or the right side, and in this case the left side is true. So if you run this, we get true. Next, we're going to look at the in and not keywords and test whether these work with lists. So let's say we have a list 1 is equal to the strings of Michael and quote David. The in and not keywords test whether certain values or data points are within these list data structures or container-like objects. So let's call a print statement and evaluate is quote Paul quote in list 1 question mark. I predict false, right? Paul isn't in list 1. Let's print quote Paul close quote in list 1. Let's run this and we get false. Let's go ahead and duplicate this down, and now let's change the name to Michael. Is that in list 1? Well, I predict true. And let's change this to Michael and run that. Now it detects Michael is in the list. We can also ask the opposite and say not. So is Michael not in list 1? I predict, in this case, false, because Michael is in list 1, and we're asking if it's not in there. So, and we'll just make not in list 1. Boom. And false. All right, you guys. Hopefully these examples helped you understand some conditional testing more in Python. It's important to know that these custom objects have their own implementations for how these conditional tests are evaluated with their Dunder special methods. So as you get into more advanced Python, be on the lookout for that. But just for now, understanding the kind of algebraic understanding and basics of these conditional tests is enough. All right, you guys, this was 5-2, more conditional tests from the Try It Yourself Python Crash Course. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I'll see you in the next one.